Hey everybody, thanks for pressing play on the video. So as I discussed in the subdivision specific video at the top of this page, the lots within this Unit 3 of Last Chance Ranch, they're very different, all of them that we have in inventory. And this one, the one we're going to talk about in the video, of course, it's in the subdivision, it's in Unit 3, it sits right across the Humboldt River here, right across from the town of Elko, Elko proper. You're, 5 minutes from groceries, something like that. But it's in one of the less developed regions, and it's interesting because despite being in a less developed region, it actually has power pretty close to the property, and it's a notable property because it sits in what I like to call the shadows of the Ruby Mountains. It really kind of just backs up right to the mountains over here. So wanted to take a moment to talk about that. I also wanted to kind of walk you guys through the photo gallery a little bit. I think unless you're really scrutinizing the map, it's going to be a little difficult to figure out what we're showing you. It took me some time to figure it out. So I just kind of want to walk you guys through this. Anyway, this is the first photo right here. This, it looks like we're showing you that, oh, here's the property on the right-hand side, and here's power right by the property, and blah, blah, blah. That's not the case. This gate that you see over here would actually be for this, I'm going to call it a, quote, developed home site over here. Point being, the photo is being taken really from right down here as our photographer is driving up to the property. So it's a good demonstration of what the road looks like down here versus what you're going to see it looks like up at the property. Of course, both of these are pretty rugged roads, but this one obviously gets driven more because it's got somebody living on the property. They drive up and down it all the time. As you drive past this, and the subject property is really straight up this road up here on the right-hand side, as you drive past this, this gets more and more rugged. But I wanted to point this out not only because of the road conditions, but also because of the power that sits down here. This is the last power line that you're going to encounter on the way out to the property. That being said, this power line is really only about 1,200 feet from the subject property. Anyway, as we go through the photo gallery, this is a reverse angle here, the 7th Street turnoff. I just want to point out, guys, I've never seen these kinds of discrepancies between Google Maps and the plat maps that we get back from the county as to what these roads should be called. But this one is called 7th Street over here, and it intersects with 7th Street. So you figure that one out. Whatever the case, this shot right here is basically the reverse angle of the last shot, just demonstrating that here's the power at the intersection, and these are the road conditions down here. And as we go further and further back, our photographer is still facing that intersection. So all of these are pointing back from the subject property of the road. So you get a sense of the road condition, you get a sense of what the neighbors' lots are like. This is why I went into a little bit of detail and a little bit of speculation in the subdivision video about zoning out here and what, per the letter of the zoning ordinance, you can do, and then practically speaking, what you can get away with. I can't believe the zoning ordinance allows for this kind of debris, this kind of junk cars to be left on a property. I don't know what's going on here on this property with the shipping containers, or this what looks to be a kind of broke down RV. But obviously, the further you get from development, the less scrutiny you encounter. So if that is something that you're looking for in a property, this may be ideal for you. Anyway, point being, we're pointing back toward this way, and you can see that these are the power lines that are reaching up toward the subject property, but don't ultimately make it to the parcel boundary. Finally, we are further back again, and you get a better sense of exactly how kind of unmaintained these roads are out here. Additionally, I'll point out to you some of the home sites that you see right here. These look like pretty nice, pretty well-maintained home sites. This looks like one that is not. So just like to point it out. Anyway, point being, guys, unmaintained roads out here. So if you're going to take a drive out here to scout the property, if you end up purchasing a larger truck or off-road capable vehicle, as we like to say in these videos. Finally, this one, from what I can discern, is the one that's actually at the property. So at the very least, this gives you a sense. You can kind of see the shipping containers down here. It gives you a sense of exactly how far in reality, let's say, you would be from that neighbor down there. So if you're a person who wants more privacy, doesn't really want neighbors around, I think this person is a safe distance away. And as noted, nearest power is roughly about 1,200 feet away. In fact, if we right-click and just kind of measure distance from where the subject property is down to here, you'll see about 1,200 feet is the distance. So may actually be a little bit easy, a little bit affordable to get it extended out to the subject property if you don't want to go the solar route. Additionally, guys, just some things I want to point out here in the photos. Of course, you've got some nice views here of Elko. of the Humboldt River over here, of the surrounding mountains. This property actually sits up on a bit of a rise, a bit of a hillside. There's some flat areas to it, and there's also a bit of a hilly topography to it. So you could build up on one of the higher regions of this property and take advantage of some of these nicer views, etc., etc. Finally, guys, do also want to point out here in the gallery that, as I noted earlier, the properties back up toward the Ruby Mountains. They're not the last legal parcels before you hit the Ruby Mountains, but they're pretty close, and obviously none of the area back here has been developed by anybody else. So right now, if you did purchase this property, you would be the last one up by the mountains here. So these views that you have of the mountain range over here of the Ruby Mountains would likely be untouched for years to come. I don't foresee anybody really developing property back here anytime soon. So if you did have that, you do have some picturesque mountain ranges here in the background that you'd be waking up to every day. Finally, guys, as we like to do in these photo galleries, we do the little drone overlay to give you a sense of the property, boundaries here, the footprint of the property. As I mentioned in a previous video, we got a new photographer out here in Nevada. We're expanding into Nevada, so we're just started building a relationship with this photographer, kind of explaining what we want every time we get photos back. I would prefer to have more drone overlays to give you a better sense of the property. I don't really have those, so this is the best we could do with what we were given. In this one, you could kind of see the sort of rise on the property right here as it goes from the northern end where the road frontage is up here to the southern end. Kind of has a bit of a rise to it. And of course, you can also see exactly how kind of close you are to the mountains right here with this. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it.